Last time, we showed you insane builds that looked so tiny, unconventional trucks, and TV famous oddities that had bidders doing double takes. But if you thought those were strange, just wait until you see what we dug up for part 3. Barrett-Jackson has auctioned off some truly bizarre rides, but today's video takes weird to a whole new level. We're talking about cars that leave everyone asking, who would build that, and who would buy it? Get ready, because we're counting down the 10 strangest cars ever sold at Barrett-Jackson, part 3. And trust us, number 1 is the kind of strange you'll be telling your friends about tomorrow. Number 10, 1949 Chevrolet 3100 Good Humor Ice Cream Truck. We'll begin with something that's gonna take you right back to your childhood summer afternoons. The 1949 Chevrolet 3100 Good Humor Ice Cream Truck sold at the 2024 Scottsdale auction for a cool $143,000.
32 hammers high. I'm down 2. I'm down 2. I'm 132. I'm 200 and high. Sold it. Sold it.
Just the sight of this rig would make any grown man crave a bomb pop. This wasn't just some rusty old truck pulled from a field. Nope, it was a body-off restoration, a complete overhaul that took an original 1949 Chevy 3100 that had been out of commission for decades and turned it into a fully functioning, head-turning time machine. They ripped out the old motor and dropped in a freshly rebuilt 350 cubic inch V8, paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission. It even has new brakes, fuel lines, shocks, bushings, and white wall tires so fat they could pass as marshmallows. What sets it apart is that this ice cream truck actually works. It's got a modern refrigeration unit in the back, and it's ready to keep those ice cream bars frozen at your next car show or your grandkid's birthday party. The Good Humor livery decals, brass bells, side lighting, all there and period correct, polished to a shine that'll blind you if you catch it in the Arizona sun. Even the interior was professionally redone in that classic blue and white color scheme, with an amplified sound card and speakers to play that all-too-familiar ice cream jingle. Imagine pulling up to a cruise night, flipping on the jingle, and watching grown men line up like they're 5 years old again. This truck even came with a vintage-correct Good Humor man mannequin to display, making us bet you could practically see the nostalgia flooding back as bidders lifted their paddles, as it was about buying back a slice of their youth. Get ready to go from childhood dreams to the future that never was with the next one on our list. But before then, if you're into off-the-wall builds, movie prop rides, and wild auction moments, hit that like button right now and subscribe to our channel so you never miss these bizarre gems rolling across the Barrett-Jackson block. Let's get back on track. Number 9, 1950 General Motors Futureliner Parade of Progress Bus. This is one of the wildest rigs ever to hit Barrett-Jackson stage. It crossed the block at the 2015 Scottsdale auction, hammering down for an eye-watering $4 million. It's a 30-foot-long Art Deco masterpiece on wheels with an opening side, retractable stage, and a driver's cockpit smack dab in the middle under a glass dome like some kind of spaceship captain's chair. Built by GM under the legendary Harley Earl, only 12 of these Futureliners were ever made as part of the Parade of Progress, a rolling showcase of America's future meant to travel from town to town to show families what tomorrow would look like. Think jet age optimism, neon lights, and a faith that technology could solve everything. This particular Futureliner is one of only 3 restored to its original Parade of Progress configuration, and it had quite the journey before it rolled into Scottsdale. It was bought years prior by collector Ron Pratt, who put it through a meticulous re-restoration to bring it back to exactly how it looked during its touring days, right down to the period-correct tires. Here's what made this auction moment unforgettable. Ron Pratt, a Vietnam veteran himself, chose to donate the entire proceeds of this Futureliner sale to the Armed Forces Foundation. The auction arena was packed, American flags waving everywhere, and you could feel the electricity in the air as the bidding climbed higher and higher. When the hammer finally dropped at $4 million, the place erupted, but it didn't stop there. Generous attendees donated an additional $650,000, bringing the total raised for veterans to over $4.6 million. Barrett-Jackson called it one of the most memorable moments in its history, and you can see why. 8. 1969 Ford Tallaladega prototype. Now, we've got a real oddball that looked like it just escaped the wind tunnel. This is the 1969 Ford Tallaladega prototype, which was hammered down at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale in 2024 for $132,000. And buddy, it's worth every penny if you're into NASCAR heritage with a weird twist. This is the earliest known prototype Tallaladega, and the only one Ford built in candy apple red with Ram Air. Back in the day, this vehicle rolled straight out of Ford's administrative services as a special purpose vehicle, which is just a fancy way of saying they built it to go fast while looking like a secret weapon. Under the hood, you've got a 428 Cobra Jet V8 with Ram Air, paired to a C6 Cruise-O-Matic that would yank the Tallaladega down the track without fuss. However, what makes it even stranger is what Ford did to it before releasing it to the public. They yanked off the hood latch, threw on hood pins, and hand-massaged those rocker panels and front fenders for better aerodynamics. The hood, scoop, and wiper panel? Painted flat black instead of eggshell, just because they could. Ford even slapped a white C-stripe that had to be hacked up in the front to fit the extended nose, and they patched the rear where the Torino emblem used to sit. They bolted on chrome-styled steel wheels with Goodyear white-letter tires and GT caps, making it ready for the camera. It actually was ready for the camera, showing up in Stock Car Racing magazine in April 1969, looking like it was ready to break speed records on the way to the grocery store. What's wild is that Ford kept this prototype in their hands for 4 years before they decided to sell it in March 1971 to NASCAR Hall of Fame legend Banjo Matthews, who knew a thing or two about fast Fords. It's got a paper trail that collectors drool over, original title in Ford's name, registration cards, receipts from Ford to Banjo, and even a Marty report confirming it's one-of-a-kind build. You want rare? It's the only red Ram Air Tallaladega ever built. You want something weird? It's a hand-modded aero experiment that somehow survived corporate cleanouts and decades in hiding, resurfacing in front of stunned Barrett-Jackson crowds who probably didn't even know Ford built a prototype Tallaladega like this. Number 7. 1969 AMC AMX Banichek. This car is so weird you'd think George Barris built it for a sci-fi flick rather than a detective show. This car sold at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale in 2024 for $143,000, and if you grew up watching TV in the 70s, you might just remember it. Built by none other than George Barris, the king of the customizers, this AMX was made to promote the NBC series Banichek, starring George Peppard as a smooth-talking insurance investigator. Now, whether this exact car actually made it on screen or just toured around promoting the show is up for debate, but there's no denying it turned heads then, and still does now. Let's talk about what makes this car a certified weirdo on wheels. Barris didn't just slap on some paint and call it a day. He chopped the roof by 4.5 inches, raked the windshield back 2 inches, and stretched the nose a whopping 15 inches. Altogether, the car ended up being 18 inches longer, giving it a shark-like profile that looked like it was hunting other cars in the fast lane. The body was sculpted with Camaro-style wheel arches, while huge chrome side pipes ran down the flanks, looking like they could roast your legs if you got too close. Ram Air scoops were molded into the hood, while streamlined louvers ran from the roofline to the rear bumper, all covered in a paint job that would make a lowrider blush. White Murano pearl on top, tangerine candy with copper overtones on the sides. Under that extended snout sat a 390 cubic inch V8, pumping out 315 horsepower, tied to a 3-speed automatic, ready to growl to life if the next museum in line actually let it hit the road. It rolled on chrome Krager SS wheels, wrapped in Firestone wide oval tires, making it a blend of pure muscle with pure custom weirdness. Inside, you've got tan bucket seats with Naugahyde dash padding, a carpeted rear compartment, and, get this, George Barris himself left his signature on the dashboard. That alone makes it a collector's dream. After its TV promo days were done, the car toured the country as a show car, eventually landing in various museums and making a cameo at the Detroit Concours d'Elegance, where it picked up awards for its unique build. At the 2024 auction, the AMX Banichek drew a crowd that couldn't stop snapping photos. Some were there for nostalgia. Others were car guys who appreciated the Barris heritage. But everyone was curious about this bizarre blend of muscle car and TV history. 6. 1923 Ford T-Bucket Custom Roadster Lady Luck 2. This car rolled across the Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale 2024 auction block, hammering down at $60,500.
$57,000. Sold for T.
Now, I know you've seen T-Buckets, but you've never seen one quite like this. Lady Luck 2 isn't just another weekend garage build. It's hot rodding royalty. This car's been parked at the Peterson Museum in Los Angeles as the lead hot rod for over 16 months, and it's graced the pages of over 18 publications, including Street Rodder and Custom Car UK. It even made it into a Johnny Lightning 164 diecast model, complete with a matching trading card. How many T-Buckets can say that? The story behind it makes it even cooler. Built by Total Performance out in Wallingford, Connecticut, between 1994 and 1995 for Chuck Vranis, a hot rod journalist you might recognize from Modern Rodding. It racked up awards at the 50th Grand National Roadster Show and the 50th Detroit Autorama, and it wasn't just for show. It starred in the film The Devil at Your Feet as a standalone feature, turning heads with its unmistakable light lavender pearl paint and Don Rooney's graphics and pinstriping. Pop the hood, and you've got a 460 cubic inch Reed's Automotive V8 with Keith Black pistons, a competition cam, Edelbrock dual carburetors, and a polished intake that looks so clean you could eat off it. It's mated to a turbo 350 automatic with a B&M 2400 stall converter and 3.70 gears in the Ford 8-inch rear end, which means Lady Luck 2 isn't afraid to light up those white wall Coker Commanders on the rear. The interior keeps the party going with gray diamond-stitched upholstery, a custom 1932 style dash, and a chromed skull shifter knob that would make any hot rodder grin. The undercarriage is fully detailed, featuring a chromed and drilled 4-inch dropped I-beam axle and chrome posies spring up front, with hairpin radius rods and coilover shocks out back. 5. 1957 Jato Golf Cart. Here, we've got one of the most delightfully bizarre rides you'll ever see at Barrett-Jackson, a 1957 Jato Golf Cart that went for $7,150 at the 2020 Scottsdale auction. Now, don't roll your eyes at a golf cart making this list, because this is a hot rod-inspired, fringe-top, gasoline-powered mini-sled on 3 wheels with chrome that'll blind you in the Arizona sun. Here's the backstory. Kansas farmer and inventor Max Walker was tired of dealing with electric golf carts that couldn't make it through 18 holes. So, in 1957, he created the first gasoline-powered golf carts with an 8-horsepower Kohler engine, and a design that looks like a Vespa scooter fell in love with a Cadillac from the jet age. When battery tech caught up, Walker moved on, and Jato Manufacturing in Salina, Kansas took over, pumping out these stylish carts well into the 60s. This coral and white Jato Walker Executive is a fully restored beauty, retaining its original Surrey top with that unmistakable fringe, skirted rear fenders, and streamlined hubcaps. It still sports its original 8-horsepower Kohler engine with electric start, paired with a 2-speed automatic transmission. So it's as functional as it is funky. During the auction, folks were chuckling, pointing, and pulling out their phones as it buzzed across the block, its tiny engine puttering along, and its vibrant coral paint popping under the lights. The interior is surprisingly plush, featuring white vinyl seats and a matching white canvas top. The tilt-up body reveals a clean engine compartment that's easy to maintain. Collectors know that golf carts from the 50s are becoming rare, and this Jato is one of the most collectible you'll find, thanks to its mid-century modern design and hot rod influence that makes it feel more like a microcruiser than a cart. Number 4. 1954 Pontiac Bonavville Special Motorama Concept Car. We've got a car that looks like it rolled straight out of a 1950s sci-fi movie, except it's real, and it cost someone $3.3 million at Barrett-Jackson's 2015 Scottsdale auction. Let's talk about the 1954 Pontiac Bonavville Special Motorama concept car, folks. This emerald green spaceship was born from Harley Earl's vision to shake Pontiac out of its fuddy-duddy reputation, and boy, did it ever. Back in the day, GM's Motorama was like a Vegas show for cars, with glitzy stages, lights, models, and cars that looked like tomorrow's dream. Well, the Bonavville Special was the star attraction in 1954. Harley Earl wanted Pontiac to look fast, even if it wasn't, so he slapped those silver streaks down the middle and added imitation oil coolers to the fenders, giving it that Le Mans vibe. They built only 2 of these bad boys, one bronze, which hit the stage in New York's Waldorf Astoria, and the other, this green beast, which showed off under the lights in LA at the Pan Pacific Auditorium before touring the country like a celebrity on wheels. People would crowd dealership windows just to get a peek, dreaming of a future where cars looked like this. This car had a 268 cubic inch straight 8 under the hood, making 230 horsepower. And while that's not mind-blowing today, in the 50s, it was more than enough to send imaginations flying. Here's where it gets wild. After its show days, this concept was supposed to be scrapped. GM didn't want the liability of these dream cars hitting the road. But like a plot twist in an old noir film, this Bonavville Special survived. Rumors swirled that it was wrecked at a dealership in Flint and scrapped. But that was just gossip. This green gem slipped out the back door, ending up in Joe Bortz's collection. It also went through some auction drama. At the 1998 Cruise Auburn auction, it failed to sell for $300,000, then flopped again at Barrett-Jackson in 1999 for $220,000. But in 2006, it found a new home with Ron Pratt, who dropped over $3 million on it, displaying it alongside the Motorama bus in Arizona like a king's crown jewel. Number 3. 1972 Cadillac Pirate Surf Mobile Wagon. We're moving on to a 1972 Cadillac hearse that's done with funerals and ready to party. This beast sold at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale in 2020 for just $9,900. But it's the kind of car you'd remember for the rest of your life. This hearse started life carrying the dearly departed, but artist and madman Richard Fletcher turned it into the Pirate Surf Mobile, a 28-foot-long surf wagon dripping in pirate chaos and hot rod energy. Forget subtlety. This Cadillac roars with a 500 cubic inch V8 engine mated to a 3-speed automatic, and you see it all because the hood is gone. It's got double front axles and a cartoonish skull and crossbones slapped on the grille, greeting you like a wild-eyed pirate every time you look at it. The exhaust spits out fire just before the firewall, courtesy of some seriously strange 4-into-1 manifolds with no mufflers in sight. Inside, it's all multicolored madness, complete with shaggy wood surf styling that would have made any 70s surfer proud. But before you get too excited, this rig isn't street legal. It was sold on a bill of sale only, which is perfect because it doesn't belong on the road. It belongs at an outdoor party, parked as the ultimate conversation starter while you crank CCR and drink cold ones under the sun. Nothing about this car makes sense, and that's exactly why it deserves its place on this list. It's an absurd, brilliant, one-of-a-kind Cadillac hearse that will never fail to get a grin out of anyone who sees it. Number 2. 2003 Buick Blackhawk Retro Concept. The 2003 Buick Blackhawk Retro Concept is a machine that blends the soul of classic Buicks with a beastly modern heart. It rolled across the Barrett-Jackson block in Scottsdale in 2009, hammering down for a jaw-dropping $522,500. Buick built the Blackhawk to celebrate its 100th birthday, and they went all out, combining design DNA from the legendary 1938 Y-Job, a 1941 and 1948 Roadmaster, and a 90s Riviera interior, all fused together under the guidance of former Buick designer Stephen Pastiner. Under the hood, a 1970 Buick GS Stage 3, 455 cubic inch V8, pumping out 463 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 4L80E 4-speed automatic. This thing can roast tires at will and knock out 0 to 60 runs in under 5 seconds, despite looking like a gangster's dream convertible. The Blackhawk's deep purple metallic paint and sweeping fenders are pure eye candy. When the retractable carbon fiber hardtop disappears into that long rear deck, you're looking at one of the sleekest silhouettes ever to come out of Detroit. Forget door handles. The Blackhawk uses a keyless entry fob, keeping the lines smooth and clean. Buick's team didn't build it in-house. They wanted this car to be a true showpiece, so Pathfinder and Advanced Automotive Technologies got the call. They took a 1996 Buick Riviera and stripped it down to the VIN plate, stretched the wheelbase to 129 inches, and built a homage to everything Buick ever did right, then supercharged it with pure muscle. It even made a cameo in Bad Boys 2, driven by Will Smith right after the mortuary scene, giving it that extra bit of street cred, even though it's not street legal. Yup, it was sold with a scrap title, meaning it can't legally cruise down Main Street, but that didn't stop collectors from drooling over it. You step inside, and it's a plush cream leather interior wrapped around Riviera gauges and switches. But there's nothing soft about the way this car feels. It's all attitude, with a Corvette-based independent suspension, letting it carve corners as well as it cruises. Number 1. 2009 AM General Humvey 6x6 Pickup. Taking the top spot in our countdown of the strangest cars ever sold at Barrett-Jackson is this beast of a machine that looks like the result of a military Humvee and a Hellcat engine having an apocalypse baby. Meet the 2009 AM General Humvey Custom Military 6x6 Pickup, which rolled across the Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale auction block in 2024 with no reserve, hammering down at a jaw-dropping $825,000. Now, we've all seen Humvees, but this one? It's a whole other level of bonkers. Built by Danton Arts Customs and Frenchie Export, this rig was transformed into a 6-wheel drive monster, powered by a mid-mounted supercharged 6.2-liter Hellcat V8 engine, producing 717 horsepower. That's right, a Hellcat-powered Humvee with 6 wheels. The chassis? Completely custom-built to handle the insanity, paired with a GM4L80E automatic transmission. The body? A handcrafted aluminum and metal shell painted in matte military green, chopped and cut to look as sinister as a vehicle can get without being illegal. It wasn't just a showpiece, it was fully functional, with smartphone-controlled remote start, lights, horn, and signals. It's sitting on 20-inch wheels up front and 4 24-inch monsters in the back, wrapped in tires wide enough to steamroll any terrain you throw at it. They even added a rear spoiler wing, made from an actual modified aircraft wing, so when you see this thing cruising down the road, it looks like a rolling tribute to Mad Max, ready for the end of the world. The reactions when this monster hit the auction stage were priceless. Folks in the audience were left shaking their heads, phones out, capturing every angle as this tank-turned supercar roared under the lights. Online, a clip of this Humvee posted by Gas Monkey Garage blew up, becoming the 8th most watched video in Instagram history. That's right, a 6-wheeled Humvee outperformed cat videos and influencer pranks on Instagram. Moreover, this wasn't even a long-term project. This monstrous creation came together in just 10 weeks. A wild joke turned into one of the most recognizable 6x6 Hellcat-powered Humvees ever. What's even crazier? It's hiding a Porsche Cayenne's exhaust system under that military green skin. So when you hear that Hellcat roar, it's filtered through a Porsche system, adding a layer of exotic growl to an already ridiculous package. There aren't many 6x6 Humvees out there, and there sure as hell aren't many with this level of custom work, Hellcat power, and apocalypse-ready style. It's one of those builds that makes you question if you're looking at a truck, a show car, or another piece of art. There you have it, 10 of the strangest, wackiest, and most head-scratching rides ever to hit the Barrett-Jackson stage. If you love seeing these automotive oddities with stories you can't believe are real, smash that subscribe button and join us for more deep dives into the wildest cars ever sold at auction. Trust us, Part 4 is going to be more insane.